fact that, you know, Jay and Westwood, they were trying to actually find opportunities to win the game. However, the tools they were given were extremely lacking to do so. So hopefully in game number 2, they play something that is a little bit more easy and comfortable to actually pull off compared to what Archives is playing.
Yeah, and what I want to see from Team Flash here, if you're put in a situation where you see your opposing team snowballing, yes, you'd want to think, hey, to stop the snowball, let's contest the turtles. Make sure we can get some back. But there were moments in the game in Turtle 2 and Turtle 3 where it looked risky to take a team fight, especially with how far Archives already was able to build the gap with the gold. Team Flash could have split the map. They could have taken resources elsewhere. And this is, as far as I'm aware, the Singaporean playstyle, they really love playing around the objectives. If it's not the picks, it's the objective team fights. But we've seen, especially in MSC, the teams that know when to give up objective team fights so that they can get split pushes are the ones that shine.
Yeah, in a way, it looks like they're tunnel visioning. I wonder what the casters are thinking. Well, we'll see that a little bit later. In this game, you know what? I actually agree. Because Team Flash, if they widen the horizon, perhaps they could do something. But I kind of feel like having the Franco, you're almost thinking like we have to stick with him, because the moment he gets an amazing hook and we're not there, it's kind of like one of that one guy. Whenever you go to a party, when you leave, something cool happens. They want to make sure that's not the case. They want to make sure when Jay finally gets a pick, they're there to follow up. Now we're going into game number 2, the draft. Team Flash again, banning out the Faramis, and Archive, they're banning out the Fanny. It looks like it's going to be more of the same, but this time, Flash, they're going to be their first pick. The question is, do they want to pick up the Novaria again?
If they're going to pick up the Novaria, at least build something, as you mentioned earlier, Lafel, something that can actually invade and not just rely on their side of the river to play around. They're taking away the Faramis and the Diggy. If I'm Flash here, even though, yes, the glue is a power pick for Vegs, we saw that Archives is ready for that. Their first major rotation in the first game was to take Vegs down. So they're ready for it. I wouldn't want to see a glue first pick here for Flash.
No, I personally think this Diggy is a pretty clear tell coming from Flash, where they want to play a little bit more CC control, right? First pick here, I feel like getting this R-Lot gives you a little bit more safety net to actually flex their way through. However, I'm a little bit curious here, because what are they going to ban? Because as of yet, Joy is pretty much in the pool as well. So that's something that I think should be a priority compared to the Novaria at this stage when you go first bans.
Personally, for me, I kind of feel like the Joy is a hit or miss as well, because you have a lot of damage, but you're not that tanky. So if you're really good with your mechanics, you're going to look amazing. But in a tournament stage, and if you're like nervous or something, you're going to make a mistake. And so I kind of feel like Joy is an amazing hero, but you need the right pilot to use Joy.
Yeah, and right now with Team Flash taking out the Valentina, that puts up the Kaja as a potential first pick. Archives hasn't banned the 1-1 yet, but we saw 1-1 struggling. Grand finals of MSC.
Agreed.
She is struggling with all the dashes across the board in the current metagame, and the fact that the range of her ultimate was shortened, you feel the effect of it. So Archives reads into it. They ban the Kaja, but that means that Joy is open here, and the 1-1 has said, well, if Flash really wants to get into that, but if the 1-1 shows up here, I think Archives will answer it right away.
Yeah, this is a problem here. You can see the face of the Flash as well. They're in a situation where if we pick one, Archives are going to get 2 power picks in their favor regardless. If they want to go for it, sure. But I feel like they are still leaning on towards the Arlo a little bit more because of the fact of how well, I would say, Lord Jam was actually playing just now, and how annoying it is, especially against for the XP laner for Vex.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with the Arlo pick as well. Just because technically it doesn't lose too much in the lane, but looks like they thinking that the Fredrin is more of a problem. I mean, to be fair, Fredrin can be flexed around being the EXP or the jungler. But again, I kind of feel like Kizin doesn't care that much. There's still quite a lot of strong picks around.
Yeah, and there it is. The Arlot's going to go back into the hands of Lord JM. And I wonder if he's going to be able to replicate it. And this time they pick up the Novaria. And if I feel like if Lord JM can just get out of lane quicker, and then depending on where the Novaria is, so far this is a good combo, because that means the Arlot can get out of lane and help the Novaria and whatever the roamer will be to get vision into the opposing jungle.
You know, that when it comes to this composition here, I feel like for Flash, they need to find a way to actually mirror against the Novaria, right? But in this case, I was hoping that they get a Kadita, but because Archives kind of first phase banned it as well,
great
we don't see that kind of backlines composition where you can actually one-shot this this Novara, which is going to be a big problem. But of course, if you want to talk about heroes that can actually flank the back lines, then Talia is also in the pool, which I don't think Flash does play that a lot into the role position.
Yep, and right now Eve being picked up as, I would say, just a very safe pick and very strong going up against the Arlet, and this time the 1-1 has been picked. How do we feel about this? How do you feel about the 1-1? It's a strong hero, but again, historically, well, the latest history doesn't look that great.
Do it. Actually, sorry, deep down I'm just wishing right now, Archives, a Lolita would be a perfect pickup right now. You don't have to worry about a Valentina taking the ultimate. You can block the crossbow of Tang, and you get that big wide AoE that pairs very well with the ultimate of the Novaria.
Yeah, I think the Lolita is like the perfect pick right now, but if they don't go for it and just prioritize this power picker here, I'm pretty sure Flash is going to be banning it as well. So I would say Flash, this composition is such a strong opening compared to game number 1, and this is a little bit more safer to execute. But whereas for Archives, they're in the predicament here because of the fact that they have CCs, but if they cannot one-shot this 1-1, things are going to go through. And like you said, Lolita will be picked, so this is going to be a big problem for this 1-1 eventually.
Yeah, he called it, but now what are they looking for a ban here? Because the Fredrin can be flexed, but what do you guys think? Is the Fredrin going to get flexed around? Is it better for Archives to ban out the junglers or the EXP?
I think they need to ban at least one pick ban until it's the carry, just because of the fact that the carry is going to be stretched through the HP of this Fredrin at least, or maybe even the Claude as well, because if Archives needs to play mobility, Claude is like the perfect hero to actually play cross maps compared to a 1-1 who needs to be in your face.
Yeah, Archives actually taking out Khalid.
Oh,
interesting.
Wow. This is interesting.
So they're reading this as a potential pocket pickup for
I mean, like,
Vex?
to be fair, we see in Singapore using quite a lot of Khalid to make sure that they have lane priority. And as you were talking about it, like Lord JM, if he has the lane priority, if he can rotate first, that's kind of dangerous. So they just want to make sure that he does not get a bad matchup here.
Yeah. So if Archives leans into that idea too hard, are they also going to be banning out a Terizla?
I think Terizla isn't too bad because Flash, they did play it before as a counter CC initiation, and to set it up with the Fredrin, it is too bad entirely. But I feel like in terms of sustainability, Flash is in a situation where they have to actually focus on, you know, finding a way to pick off Novaria. And in this case, I'm surprised they actually went for the Hayabusa. I think because of the fact that they don't really want Super West to be caught up that easy in a solo kill, I guess.
Yeah, considering that they have an artillery mage on them and knowing the tendencies of Filipino junglers and Hayabusas.
Honestly,
not just
Novaria
Filipinos,
makes it
everywhere.
easy as well.
Yeah, and Novaria makes it easy as well. So it's a great ban actually for Team Flash, I think, the Hayabusa. For Archives here, I agree with you. The 1-1 would actually really be great. But they take out the Joy. So they're really just focusing on Vex. They're respecting the heck out of him. And maybe sort of thinking if they can somehow funnel that Fredrin into the XP lane so that Flash will think about picking up a different jungle.
Ooh, that might be a possibility as well because, like you said as well, flexibility is going to be key. But I feel like Flash, they should at least ban either Claude or the carry in these circumstances here because Archives, they have so much capabilities to do this. But at the same time, you know, Archives, they can still go for the Beatrix as well. So I guess from that perspective, they don't really want to focus on this marksman here because of the fact that Archives still has so much to actually pick off, and they are going to be banning off the Link as well. Heroes that can actually cut the back lines, and I'm really surprised that Flash is taking this initiative, considering that they should be the one taking this kind of initiative to actually punish the Novaria.
Here's the thing. If they're banning out the assassins, few things. Either they know that it's going to be a problem just because Kizen is an amazing assassin player, or they're going to go all in. They're all going to dive. And if everyone's going to dive, no one is going to take care of Eve in the back line. So they just want to make sure that whatever you guys pick up, it better be a fighter. It better be a tank that doesn't just move around the map and all of a sudden the Eve is dead. But now that we see the Beatrix has been picked up, is good for Archive because they can see the entire lineup before making a decision on what kind of jungler they want.
Yeah, I have a feeling it might be a Martis later on, though. The Akai will be counterintuitive because he might end up pushing away people from the Novaria Lolita ult. A Martis would be great, especially if the Martis gets a steamroll going with the chains of the ultimates. Everyone's going to be slowed. Flash won't be able to run away. But Flash here, I agree with the dive sentiment. They're going for dive. They go for the Cho, which actually Jay even played in the mid lane in the last FPL SG, and they're going back to the glue on Vex here, which again to me is still Glue versus Arlott. Archives is ready for this matchup in the actually.
You know, I think this isn't too bad, considering that this Flash is still leading on towards the comfort here, pick up the composition, isolation here. You still have the Way of the Dragon, you still have the split poo-poo to actually grab your way into isolating one
poo-poo?
Pull.
Oh,
at the same
okay, that makes more sense. Sorry.
At the same time, you know, Lancelot Jungler is pretty much the clear cut here because it does have this backlines composition that allows Archives to actually die the backlines. Arlott and Lancelot can actually punish the backlines, which is great.
Yeah. Okay, so quick prediction here, boys, men, gentlemen. Which draft you guys are liking?
I am 50-50. I feel like Flash has a little bit better compared to before, compared to Archives this draft.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Spider-Mouse again here. His timing, going around the map and getting off the Numenon Blast, but most importantly, the shield, if he can get it up perfectly just to block those crossbow of tanks, and especially add pressure onto the 1-1 early on. Archives can get it, but yeah, 50-50, leaning a little bit towards Flash. Same.
All right, I appreciate you guys' opinion, but now we got to throw over to Eternian Q, where we want to know what are their feelings towards the game. Eternian Q.
Nice try. Still can't find a ship name that works out perfectly for the both of us, but at the very least, we can talk about this upcoming draft because, again, majority leaning towards Flash's side ever so slightly, but what about you?
Honestly, I'm leaning a bit towards Archives this time around.
Really?
Yeah, still.
Really?
Do you
Why?
agree with the rest?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a little undecided overall. As we jump right into the game, it's going to be Team Flash on the blue side with Archives on the red. I think this is going to be the perfect time to really walk me through your thought process because I'm still very undecided. Very good tools on both sides.
50-50, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they mentioned, and I agree with that. It's 50-50, but because I feel like Flash just really relies on West for most of their plays, for most of their damage. And we saw in that previous game where West wasn't too, I would say, involved in these team fights. It didn't feel like Flash found their footing. And in this game, Archives, they have all the tools in the world to counter this 1-1 from popping off.
You know what? You bring up some really good arguments here, right? I feel like a lot of this game is going to be on the shoulders of Jay. First Little Wanderer going to fall into the hands of Archives Esports. They're not losing out too much, but Vex, he's got to make sure he's applying a lot of pressure in this lane. Kyrie walking up. Lacey getting some good shots in, but shocker, he's got to be very careful, right? Because again, he's essentially playing without a support, and we find the solo kill after continuous punishment from long range. Kyrie looking for an opportunity to turn this around, finds a kill for himself, and now backs away. Nicely done. At least they trade 1-for-1, but very, very sad for Vegas.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade there, and it looks like they are looking for more here.
I mean, Kyrie
No
shouldn't
way.
die. He shouldn't die. Vex is about to hit back into lane. Lacency is making it annoying, and that's how you really abuse the range, right? You're shooting from angles that are past terrain to not give your opponent time to react.
And that's what we expected, honestly, from Team Flash in that previous game, right? Because, honestly, I love their drafts. I think I kept talking about it over and over, and this time around, it feels like Archives, they're showing them how it's done. They're rotating first on this objective as well, setting it up. They have to be careful. However, Jay has not hit level 4.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Jay hasn't hit level 4. Shocker just hit his level 4, and they're not going to be able to make it in time. However, something's happening on the bottom side. It looks like Arlott's kind of in the middle of that fight. Fighting in the middle of the real world manipulation and nearly winning out that 2v1. He ends up dying regardless, but at least with KZen, he's nearby, notices that Vegas is able to top up his health back up to 50%. Mid lane gets shoved out, and then we look back to the engagement back on top. Beatrix just getting pummeled here. Crossbow of Tang coming out, gonna force a recall.
Simply put, you can say that he bought a lot of time for his team, right? But Jay goes in.
Oh,
He gets it. Oh,
he gets the kick, but doesn't take the second part of it, and now he's gonna die for this. He's still gonna make the attempt. He at least gets the kill on the Beatrix, but finally the trade comes over from Lacey. What I don't know how to feel about this. Right?
yeah. That was unfortunate. That was unfortunate. But like you mentioned, at least Sumpak gets a little bit more punished than before. And I think that is going to be the key factor of how Team Flash is going to be able to win this game, right? That 1-1 and that Beatrix matchup is already really tricky. Honestly, great. Sumpak's getting pressured. Gets a kill onto Sumpak as well. We just need more time for West Mode to come back online.
Yep. He's gonna need a little bit of time in that case. And mid lane, so very important. Bottom side, noticing that the jungle is still pathing towards it, right? Making sure that this Arlott doesn't get too far ahead. But now that they're aware, the late rotation from the jungler on towards that top side. 36 more seconds until we see the Lord. A play could be made by Jay, but it doesn't seem like he finds the angles just yet.
Well, what's happening in the gold lane?
Right? I mean,
Oh,
they're hitting back. They're hitting
force a
back
recall.
hard. Wanwan's not going to be able to make it in time, right? Corrosive Scythe already purchased, forcing a recall almost straight away, and then once again, mid lane being controlled. Like, it feels like Sumpak didn't get punished.
No, it didn't.
He came back and he's like, no, now it's your turn to go back
He's super
home.
close to BOD as well, right? Already. So now 6 seconds, 7 seconds left on the timers. And it looks like both Kaizen and Kyrie are on the same level. They do have equal chance. It really depends on how they are going to set up for this.
Notice on the bottom side, the 1v1 has already began between the Wanwan as well as the Arla. In the meantime, this dance is happening. Crossbow of Tang is out. Lord JM is alive, so we get to hold on a little bit longer. Team Flash is able to secure the Lord as the kick comes on through onto Spider Miles. He's trapped, can't get out. He's going to try his best, but at the end of the day, Team Flash walk away with at least a kill and a turtle in hand.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. It's no longer them just dancing into the tempo of Archives. They're really just setting themselves up for success. But meanwhile, Westwood! Oh my god, 1-for-1 there in the bottom lane. And that's a trade. Who was it worth it for?
It's worth it for nobody, to be fair. Nobody really wins out. Well, technically, it's a little bit more worth it for Archives because at least Beatrix gets to walk in for a free lane, you know, completely free. It's fresh. You have a wave to work with. Veg's on the top side with Jay. We'll try to take down that tier 1 while Spider Miles basically has to give that up. But man, oh man, had that final slash connected earlier. Lord James is probably like thinking to himself, man, it's one of those days, huh?
He's seething. He's seething at this point, right? And looking at this, right, back to their economy, it's still quite equal. Very different to game number 1. Team Flash, I think they're a little bit more comfortable with this particular draft. And it's interesting that the analysts also brought that up, right? So you can see exactly the impact that it has on the game. They're actually leading quite a bit. And, you know, they're pushing the momentum. They're getting more objectives on the board. And let's take a look at the items here. Beatrix is a little bit far off. Close, very close to that BOD, to that item power spike.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they decided to actually try to go for the tier 2 boots rather than just hold it off, look to rush that first item, and then eventually go for the tier 2. So interesting choice here. This could be the result of getting dove under within the 3rd minute of the game. Maybe that has something to do with it, but we'll leave it to the analysts to break that down for y'all. So now we see the engagement moving down towards that bottom side. I mean, looking at the map pressure, right, it just feels like Team Flash is sticking closer together while Archives is making sure that 2 and 3. Spider Miles gets kicked under it. The real world manipulation stops Lacency from getting out, but Spider Miles is left isolated. Even the Numenor Blast getting canceled by the 3rd hit of G Kundo. Lord JM able to dance his way out, but isn't able to secure the kill onto Jay. That means we are expecting to see nothing else. Oh, another flicker being utilized, and as well as the Astral's Field connecting. Now Archives has the advantage, and Kyrie cannot just walk up like this. Phantom Execution is going to be more than enough to put him out of his misery, and now Archives, they're just farming Team Flash. Who's next? Who wants to come in isolated? We don't have resources, but we've got the damage.
Yeah, it's beautiful how they tailored that, right? Because, you know, looking at it in a general sense, oh, Lord Jam!
He finds it again, final slash, now looking to get on top of Westboat. He's trying his best. He has the crossbow of Tang, and Lord JM decides to disengage. Oh, Lord J tries his own to go for a kick, but doesn't make it through. Numenon Blast is going to slow down the RWM at the very least, but it still is able to pump out that damage. Sumbak, he's trying his best, forced to flicker away. Vegs is still alive, and Spider Miles still trying to survive. He walks off just in time, and now, finally, once the dust has settled, Lacency and Kaizen will live, and they at least get a tier 1 on the top side of the map.
Archives are orchestrating these things really beautifully, right? Because if we just take it back into that previous team fight, they were at a disadvantage. They lost Spider Miles. They didn't have that proper initiation. All they could rely on was Lord JM with the final slash. And they still were able to win it out in a long, drawn execution of that team fight. Fast forward into the previous skirmish in that mid lane, I feel like Team Flash's Archive's biggest hurdle from Team Flash is Shocker with the real-world manipulation. It doesn't feel like Spider Miles is getting the proper setup because of that slow, because of that DOT damage as well, and hence, it's a lot more difficult for them this time. But because Sumpak was able to get that item power spike, that BOD mid-team fight, you can feel that the damage was just a saving grace for them in that skirmish.
Yeah, it almost felt like the tables were turning ever so slightly. I think Jay as well as Shocker are a lot more warmed up this time around. Like Jay is canceling out Numenon Blast, is making sure that the charges don't connect as nicely. Even the Guardian's Bulwark sometimes doesn't feel like it's in the right position. And So far, that's great for Team Flash, but Archives, they're looking to bounce back, and with a lead that Sumpak has developed for himself, very slight, 1.5k, now dropping to 1.4. All they need is to wait for the next objective, right? Make sure that mid-tier 1 still lives.
6 seconds.
6
seconds for the next objective, right? And this is when things get a lot more interesting. Shocker has been a huge impact in these team fights, just got the Ice Queen wand, so a lot more utility coming in from that real-world manipulation that should help them in their next 5v5 team fight, where I feel like Team Flash has an edge.
Yep, and let's see whether or not that edge is going to make a difference. Top side pushed out by Lord JM as he walks up. Jiu Kundo, it looks good, but the angle isn't there. They're also popping the RWM. Lord JM just walks away. 2 big ultimates already down. Vex is by himself. He might need to start using the split very early, but it looks like Lord JM is going to lock him in place. Final slash as well. Numenon Blast coming up for Spider-Man. Forward, hits 3, and now they're chasing them down one by one. Kaizen secures the Lord, and now starts backing off Vex by himself. Sumpak, this is all you. You're going to take him out as the mid lane gets shoved away, and the rest of Archives is just going to chase down Vex.
Oh, that's unfortunate. You know, I said that their resources are going to be important. Unfortunately, they were forced to utilize it a lot earlier on, even before that team fight begun, even before the contestation of the Lord. Archives knew that. They went and hit on the gas, and they were able to win that team fight. Very, very unfortunate here for Team Flash. And one of the other things that I noticed is the disparity of level between Kaizen as well as Kyrie. 14 to 12. So even if Team Flash had the better setup, Kaizen on the land slot with a little bit more mobility to go in and do that 50-50, it's no longer 50-50. It's a 75-25 with that goal, with that EXP lead that he has.
You're absolutely right with that. And it just proceeds to show that Archives have learned so much from the MDL. Even though they were very, very close to qualifying, you can see that the team has kind of gotten to a level of polish taking on a team like Team Flash and making them really sweat here. Ooh, Shocker, nearly taking that damage, but Westmo losing at least 60% of his health from Render's apathy. Probably don't want to get hit by that skill shot once more.
He's going in. They're going in. They're collapsing onto Jay. They are playing the map so perfectly, and you can see this. Oh, Kyrie?
He should be fine, right? He's tanking the damage. He's taunted too. Now he gets pulled back by the final slash. It's looking a little sketchy now as they slowly back away. It still shocks me how Lacency still does so much damage on this Novaria.
Yeah, coming back to that point, right, earlier before that actually begun, is the fact that Archives Esports, they're very, very intelligent at playing the map, but now Jay once again getting caught, almost taken down by that shot. Luckily, he's still able to get away, but they realize that Team Flash, they like to rotate S5. Archives Esports with the Lancelot, with Lord JM, who has a lot more going for them in terms of mobility, have been able to split across the map, take those outer turrets, and you can see the difference, right? 6-1 in terms of towers.
I think the big thing that Archive Esports is that's really making it easy for them to actually sit around this Lord is the fact that they posture themselves in a particular way. Even though that they're down a man, right? Team Flash need to recognize that, yes, a 5v4 is an ideal situation, but Lord JM is making sure that he does his housekeeping, making sure the outer lanes are extremely clean. And now, coming back to Team Flash, we're seeing them hitting their power spikes. We're seeing them actually starting to get really confident, especially Westmo, who's flagging down the rest of his team. I'm big, I'm huge, put me in there, coach.
Yeah, we'll see how this pans out, right? Because even if they want to go for an engage with Westwood, they need to be aware of Spider Miles on the Lolita. Natural counter, a lot more difficult for Westmode to have the space that is intended for him. And now, once again, the Lord Dance. It's very interesting to see what happens here. Archives with a 5,000 gold lead. They should be a lot more fed. Oh, wait, Jay goes in.
It looks good. The RWM onto Spider Mouse. They need to get rid of this engagement tool. Final Slash pushes Vex underneath the turn, but he flickers all the way out. Sumpak might actually die. Pops the Winds of Nature just in time, so the crossbow of Tang doesn't kill him. And now Render's apathy doesn't connect on anyone, but it's Lord JM and as well as KZ all by himself. Lacency finds one. Lord JM flickers out of the Appraiser's round. Final Slash into Jay. And it's going to be Kaizen who finds one, looks for a second as Vex chased down Lord GM. Holy cow, this EXP later is designed to make plays.
Man, he has been popping off from game 1 and game 2. don't give him the Arlet. It's a hero that he's comfortable with, the impact that he has in these team fights as he goes in again.
He's trying to buy time. Danium about to bust here as Kyrie is able to walk away as the RWM is trying to slow him down. Vegs as well as Shocker still making enough space just in time. Lacency, one more shot. Come on, let's see it. It's not going to connect onto West mode, but Vegs at the very least is going to be able to block it. Look, again, another great take. Lord JM willing to sacrifice his life for it.
Yeah, and no problem whatsoever, right? Because at the end, that was already a 2-for-1 trade. Archives Esports also gets the Lord. So losing Lord JM in the process with a countdown timer still in cohesion with the timing that they've set up, it's fine. It's fine. And you gotta say that the honorable mention also goes to KZen. He noticed that Sumpak wasn't able to have an impact in the game because he got caught really low, forcing him to go for whoa.
They find the way of the dragon so far. The Numenor Blast. Oh, ends up. Wait, he ends up gets canceled out. Oh my goodness, it's not good, Jay. He ends up dying still. Team Flash, they have to pull away, even though all of the pieces were there. Archives just have too much of a lead right now. They are 7K ahead. The numbers are not in Team Flash's favor.
4v5 situation here. The Lord marching down in the bottom side. Does Team Flash have what it takes to be able to defend this against 5 man of Archives? As oh my god, Lord JM, he's gonna go in again.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Show it to me. Show that EXP laner spirit. Now they're going. They've already lost 2 inhibitor. All their inhibitor turrets are down. RWN is going to come down as Vegs ends up dying regardless. But still, it's all about clearing this wave here. The second wave is about to crash. This Lord, it's going down very, very slowly.
Oh my god!
Lord JM with the final slash. Terry tries to go with the Appraiser's Rest to get a trade backwards. Perfect dive. Lord JM tanks the turret, and Sopai able to just go crazy with it to end this game. Archive Esports. Some people might not even know they're an MDL team, but they're playing like an MPL finisher.
I didn't know them. I didn't know their name.
Well,
and now they put their name on the radar. What a perfectly executed game 1 as well as game 2. 2-0 clean sweep. They are on the way to success.
Exactly. They just need one more win to qualify in towards that